What is OPEC and its allies going to do? Are they going to pause on the 400,000 barrel per day additional supply that they've been putting into the market for some time and have indicated that they would continue to do so into the new year?
Yes, that's exactly what we think they'll do. We think they'll pause output hikes. And for us, this was a 60-40 probability even before Omicron hit the market. You know, we saw the release of strategic oil stockpiles by the US and other major oil consumers. And on top of that, we already had some lockdowns emerge in Europe. So this was already 60-40 even before Omicron variant became a big item in the news. And that's just going to cement that decision that pausing right now is the most prudent thing for OPEC Plus to do.
All right, so you mentioned there a 60-40 chance that they would pause, and the Omicron variant has really tipped the scales perhaps then more in favour of a pause. But you mentioned the release of the strategic petroleum reserves. Did that really do anything anyway? Because remember, we saw prices moving up after we had the release from the United States and others?
Sure. So look, on the day it was disappointing, because particularly from those consumers outside of the U.S., we really didn't see that much of a release. But the jawboning that we saw from the Biden administration in the weeks prior to that actual decision, that actually saw both Brent and WTI come down. So it certainly had an impact, but certainly wasn't seen on the day of the announcement. But even from the studies that we've seen from OPEC, you know, the surplus, if it's released in a 2-month period, can be quite significant early next year. And so that was already weighing on sentiment in terms of what should OPEC Plus do. But I think right now the biggest news item is Omicron and exactly what that will do. And we actually don't know. So the next 2 weeks we'll find out more exactly in terms of how infectious is it, what's the chance of being reinfected with the virus, how effective are vaccines. These are all questions which are really critical to understanding what impact this will have on oil demand. And because OPEC Plus doesn't know, I think they'll have to be quite prudent when they decide later today.